Welcome, everyone, and thank you for joining us today. I'm Sukhdev Singh, and in this video, we will explore the intelligent ecosystem, the AI paradigm shift in modern libraries. Over the next few minutes, we are going to move beyond theory and really look at what this shift means in practice, for how libraries operate, how we serve our users, and how we position ourselves in the knowledge ecosystem of tomorrow. Let's get started. I want to begin with something that I find deeply reassuring. This is not the first time libraries have faced a major disruption. We've been here before, first with manual registers, then with systems like Koha and DSpace that transformed how we manage collections. And now we are at Node 3, AI and intelligent ecosystems. Each transition reshaped our role, and we adapted. But here's what this slide is really saying. The challenge today is not technical, it is visionary. Our users no longer want to search, they expect answers. They expect recommendations. The focus must shift from tools to purpose. That's the defining idea of everything we'll discuss today. So what does this shift actually look like in infrastructure terms? On the left, you can see what I call the fragmented archive, siloed platforms, high maintenance costs, manual keyword search, and assumption-based acquisitions. Many of our libraries are still operating this way. On the right is the intelligent ecosystem, a single, unified library services platform, or LSP, where architecture is seamless, user experience is personalized, resource management is predictive, and cataloging is automated with multilingual access built in. This isn't a wish list for the distant future. It's a transition that is already underway in leading institutions globally, and it's one we need to plan for strategically. One of the most powerful shifts AI brings is in how we make decisions. For too long, many library decisions were based on intuition, what we thought users needed. This slide introduces the data activation funnel. At the top, we capture raw user behavior, what people search, what they access digitally, how they use our physical spaces. That raw data flows through AI analytics and evidence-based processing. The output at the bottom is optimized resource allocation, shifting budgets from low engagement to high-demand resources. And as this slide rightly notes, decisions backed by data consistently outperform intuition. Of course, challenges remain around user privacy, data volume, and building staff data literacy, and we'll come back to those. Now we come to what I consider the most significant conceptual shift in this entire conversation. Look at this capability spectrum. On the left, assistive AI. Reactive systems, dependent on human intervention, single-step tasks like chatbots, basic search, simple recommendations. Most of us are somewhere in this zone right now. On the right, Agentic AI. Proactive systems that complete tasks autonomously across multiple steps, navigating databases, extracting data, generating structured bibliographies. The marker on the spectrum says, "You are here." And the direction is clear. Understanding where we are on this spectrum, and where we want to go, is the strategic question every library leadership team needs to be asking today. Let's make this concrete with a workflow comparison. In traditional AI-assisted workflows, a user submits a prompt, receives a single AI output, and then human intervention is required to move forward. That stop-start pattern limits scale. Now look at the agentic model at the bottom. The same user prompt goes into a planner node, which simultaneously triggers a search node and a data extraction node, running in parallel. Both feed into a synthesis node, which produces the final outcome directly. No manual handoff required at every step. Agentic AI fundamentally alters how library systems resolve complex pattern requests, replacing single-action responses with planned, multi-step execution. This is what autonomous workflows look like in practice. Now, as exciting as all of this is, I want to draw your attention to something we cannot afford to overlook. AI operates as a black box, and when we give it decision-making power without oversight, things can go wrong very quickly. A recent real-world example: over 200 educational books were removed from a school district by an AI system that reacted to isolated keywords in its training data with no contextual understanding of those books' themes or educational value. This is not a hypothetical risk. It has already happened. The core mandate here is clear: AI reflects the biases of its training data. It must assist decisions, never replace human judgment. Strategic oversight of privacy, bias, and intellectual ownership is non-negotiable. Here's one that I think will surprise many of you. The Polished Prose Paradox. AI detection tools like Turnitin and ZeroGPT don't actually understand writing, they rely on statistical probabilities. Specifically, they measure burstiness or sentence variation. The clearer and more structured your writing, the more it mimics machine predictability. The result? The Gettysburg Address, Abraham Lincoln's iconic speech, was recently scored as 96% AI-generated. And Stanford research shows that false positives disproportionately affect non-native English speakers by as much as 61%. These are not edge cases. For LIS educators and librarians supporting students and researchers, the strategic response is clear: move from product analysis to process validation, reviewing draft history and version submissions rather than relying on detection scores alone. This slide captures one of the most important transformations in the librarian's professional identity. Look at these 4 dimensions. Primary tasks are shifting from manual cataloging and data entry to validating AI outputs and advanced prompting. Information literacy is evolving from simply finding credible sources to critiquing AI bias, identifying missing context, and verifying AI-generated content. Our work product is moving from finalizing manual records to supervising and refining AI drafts. And perhaps most significantly, our strategic stance is shifting from reactive, waiting for pattern requests, to proactive, generating intelligent resources in advance. Each of these 4 arrows represents a real change in how we add value in the intelligent library ecosystem. Let's look at the evidence. A recent Clarivate study on AI in academic libraries produced some remarkable findings. AI is delivering a 30 to 60% reduction in manual, repetitive work. Reading lists that previously took up to 45 minutes to compile are now being created in minutes. And libraries are seeing a 2 to 4 times increase in workload capacity, without hiring additional staff. But the most striking example on this slide is the paradigm shift at the bottom. Librarians are now generating highly tailored course reading lists before faculty even request them. That is the move from reactive support to proactive institutional value. The formula is simple: AI handles repetitive drafts, humans provide validation, and the result is trusted value at scale. So what is the right model for libraries deploying AI at scale? I want to draw your attention to this Venn diagram. On the left circle, Agentic AI, bringing speed, scale, initial drafts, and autonomous workflows. On the right circle, human expertise, bringing context, judgment, ethical nuance, and quality control. The golden intersection is trusted institutional value. That's what HITL, Human-in-the-Loop, architecture delivers. And the forecast figures are significant: up to 70 to 80% of cataloging can be AI-assisted, and 40 to 60% of routine reference queries can be automated. But the conclusion is not about elimination, it is about elevation. As this slide states, the librarian's role does not disappear, it elevates. AI handles the friction of scale. Humans ensure the mandate of truth. Let me bring this to ground level with a concrete, working example. This is an automated metadata pipeline that I have demonstrated in practice. Raw source content enters on the left. In the center, a custom GPT processes that content to generate MARC-style bibliographic records and assign DDC classification numbers. The output on the right is exported in MARC 21 format and imported directly into the Koha library system. This is not a pilot project, it is a working workflow. The benefits are measurable: significantly reduced cataloging time, improved metadata consistency across academic libraries, and modernized technical processing without losing structural integrity. If your library is using Koha and has not yet explored this pipeline, this is an excellent starting point. As librarians evolve into AI literacy mentors, we need a new framework for what information literacy means. This triangle gives us exactly that. At the top, generate. Students and researchers prompt AI to produce an initial draft. On the right, interrogate. Identifying bias, questioning the logic, spotting missing context in that AI output. On the left, verify, cross-referencing claims with trusted, peer-reviewed academic sources. And at the center of all three, the librarian as mentor. This cyclical model does not avoid AI, it teaches responsible, intelligent, critical engagement with it. Because as this slide so clearly states, finding information is no longer the primary challenge. Knowing what to trust is. So how do you actually begin? This slide gives us a practical playbook organized across 3 columns: skills, tools, and action. On the skills side, prompt writing, data literacy, and information verification. On the tools side, ChatGPT for drafting, Perplexity AI for sourced research, Illicit for literature reviews, and Zotero for citation management. And for action, start with automating FAQs, summarizing journal articles, or creating AI-assisted research guides. None of these require a technical background or a large budget. The key insight at the bottom of this slide is worth repeating: you don't need coding expertise to begin. You need a mindset shift. Build your foundation through communities like AI4Lib, apply tools to daily friction points, and document what you learn. We close with the vision. The future library is represented by 3 intersecting circles: AI capability, institutional values, and human expertise. No single circle is sufficient on its own. It is at their intersection that trusted, lasting value is created. And this slide leaves us with the defining question for library leadership today: not, will AI change libraries? That question has already been answered. The question is, are we ready for systems that act on our behalf? By anchoring AI capability to human judgment and the traditional ethics of our profession, the modern library can remain the undisputed center of the knowledge ecosystem. Thank you so much for your time and attention today. I look forward to your questions.